Alright, question 1. Too long, didn't read, but this question is unit conversion. Even though it doesn't look like unit conversion because it's not the usual meters to centimeters or whatever, still is. Currency rates work on the same conversion rules that everything else does. So first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a unit conversion like mini table. This is a bit overkill, you don't need to do it exactly like this, but to explain the question is quite good. So in 2010, 1 pound was 67.1 rupees. So to go from pounds to rupees, you times by 67.1. To go from rupees to pounds, you divide by 67.1. In 2012, 1 pound was 82.5 rupees. So to go from pounds to rupees, you times by 82.5. To go from rupees to pounds, you divide by 82.5. Even though it sounds obvious, it's really easy to make a mistake here. So actually writing them down before you start the question can help a lot. So let's go. We're going to work out how much he had in 2010. So he had 600 pounds. He's going to rupees, so he times by 67.1, which gives us 40,260. Then we work out how much he would get back in 2012. So we have 40,260 rupees. We're going from rupees to pounds, so we're going to divide by 82.5. Remember the conversion changed, which gives you 488 pounds. Final answer. Next question. Question 2, I don't want to read this, too long, can't be asked, but topic is lowest common multiple, highest common factor. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to write down multiples of 8 and 12 until I reach a common one bigger than 60 for both of them. So we're finding the lowest common multiple. I'm going to go, because 8 times tables is a bit smaller, I'm going to go on the 8s a little bit faster than the 12. So 8, 16, 12, 24, 32, 24. So 24 actually matches, but we can't really use 24 because the question wants us to be bigger than 60, so we need to keep going. 36, 40, 48, 56, 48, 64, 60, 72, 72. We matched, it's bigger than 60, so that works, which is the same thing as 9 boxes of sausages and 6 boxes of cake. Then we need to work out how much it will cost. So for the sausage rolls, it's 9 boxes at £1.20 each. You times them together, you get £10.80. For the cake, 6 boxes times £2.50 each gives us 15 quid of cake. Add those two together, 10.80 plus 15 is 25.80. Final answer, done. Question 3, classic Pythagoras question. So topic is Pythagoras. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to write down the formula. So hypotenuse squared is equal to the shorter sides squared added together. Remember, don't read it as A, B, just remember what they actually are. So substitute and solve. Hypotenuse is what we're trying to find, so the hypotenuse squared is equal to 6 squared plus 9 squared. Again, the order of the shorter sides doesn't really matter. Then I'm going to take square root from both sides, so hypotenuse is going to be the square root of 6 squared plus 9 squared. We're only doing like this because it's a calc paper. On a non-calc, you do the calculations first. Put that in your calculator and you get that the hypotenuse is 10.8 to 3 significant figures. Boom, done. Question 4, scatter graph shows information about 10 cars, blah 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 blah. Topic here is scatter graph. So question A, what type of correlation does this scatter graph shows? So you can see that the data is going kind of together from left to right going down, so it's a negative correlation. Then the time a car takes to go from 0 to 60 is 11 seconds. Estimate the maximum speed for the car. First thing you need to do is you need to draw a line of best fit. This is not optional. Doesn't need to be perfect, just try to make it so that you have roughly the same amount of points on each side of the line. Mine is over here, mine is not perfect, but it really doesn't have to be. Then we're gonna estimate for 11 seconds. The way that we do that is we take 11 seconds from time, we go up to the line of best fit, then we get away from it to the other axis. In my case here, I got 122 miles. It might vary a bit depending on your line of best fit, but if you did the working out correct, chances are your answer is pretty good. Right, done. Question 5, it's a forming and solving question. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to assign algebraic terms to each of the car parks. Now the question tells us that self car park is x spaces, but even if it didn't, the smallest amount that you can infer from the question is always going to be x, or is always going to be the letter by itself. Then the north car park has 48 more than the south, so that would be x plus 48, 48 more than south. And then the central car park has 4 times the amount of space as south, so that will be 4x. Then we're going to set up an inequality and solve based on what the question is telling us. So the question is telling us that the total number of spaces in the south car park, so that's x, and the central car park, so x plus 4x, south and central together, is greater than, or is bigger than, so bigger than, twice, 2 times, the number of spaces in the north car park, so x plus 48. Remember to use a bracket because it's a composite term. Now from here we just need to solve. So x plus 4x, I'm just going to expand the bracket. 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 48 is 96. Then we need to get the x's, well, we're going to collect like terms on the left, so 5x is greater than 2x plus 96. Get the x's to one side, so bring the 2x to the left, taking away 2x. You get 96 on the right and 3x on the left. Get rid of the 3, divide both sides by 3, and you're going to get that x is greater than 32. Not done yet, because the question is asking the least possible number of spaces in South Car Park. So if it has to be greater than 32, the least amount of cars is 33. Done. Question 6. Actually another forming and solving questions, but a different kind. This one with geometry. So first thing first. It says that the perimeter of those two shapes are the same. So we need to find the perimeter of each shape. So for the rectangle, we have 3x plus 4. Then each rectangle has equal parallel sides. So it's going to have another 3x plus 4. Plus 4x, again, then the parallel side, plus 4x. Collect like terms, you get 14x plus 8. Then we do the trapezium, x minus 3 plus 5x plus 7x minus 3 plus 5x. Collect like terms and you get 18x minus 6. Then we're going to form an equation and solve. It says the perimeter of those two shapes are the same. That means that 14x plus 8 is equal to 18x minus 5. Then from here, bring 14x to the other side by taking away 14x from both sides. You get 8 on the left, 4x minus 6 on the right. Get rid of the 6, add 6 to both sides. You get 14 is equal to 4x. Get rid of the 4, divide both sides by 4. You get that x is equal to 3.5. That's part 1. Part 2, write down the length and width of the rectangle. So we know that x is 3.5 from part 1, so we're going to substitute and solve. So 3x plus 4 is one of the sides. We are going to open brackets. Inside of the bracket, I'm going to put 3.5, which is what we found. You put it in your calculator and you do it yourself, and you get that one side is 14.5 centimeters. Then for the other side, for x, I open brackets. Inside the bracket, I put 3.5. Put on your calculator, and that gives you 14. So the sides are 14.5 and 14. Done. Question 7, another essay. I don't know why they want to try to make us read so much in here, but you do it yourself. So first question is asking me to complete the tree diagram. Now, remember, branches in tree diagrams add up to 1. So the probability if the damage is minor that they get a claim is 0.22. If they add to 1, that means that no claim has to be 0.78. If the damage is severe, the probability of a claim is 0.74, so probability of no claim has to be 0.26. Then, the insurance uses the information to decide whether they need to increase the charges. If it's greater than 50%, they will increase the charges for insurance, so will they increase? So now it's a probability question, so we're going to use Mr. Borges' method. Number 1, we're going to list the scenarios where somebody will claim for insurance. So the two scenarios are if the damage is minor and they claim, and if the damage is severe and they claim. Then step 2, Mr. Borges' method, we find the probability of each scenario. So minor and claim is going to be 0.55, the chance of minor, times 0.22, which is the chance of claim, which is 0.121. Severe and claim, it's going to be 0.45 times 0.74, which is probability of severe and claim, which gives you 0.33. You find both of them, you add them together, which will give you 0.121 plus 0.333, which is 0.454. That is less than 50%, so the company is not going to increase their charges. Done. All right, question 8. Topic here is simultaneous equations. So we're going to write them down and then we check. Do any of the variables have the same letters and coefficients? So in this case, x has the same coefficient and it's the same sign, so we're going to subtract one from the other. So we're going to do x plus 2y equals 3 minus x minus y equals 6. X minus x goes away, we don't need to do it. 2y minus minus y, minus and a minus will make a plus, so that will be 3y equals to 3 minus 6 is minus 3. Remember, it's the top minus the bottom. Then we're going to solve for y. So we divide both sides by 3, and you get y is equal to minus 1. Then we're going to substitute, and we're going to solve to find x. You can take either one. I'm going to take the top one. So x plus 2y, but instead of y, I'm going to open brackets. Inside the bracket, I get what I just got for y, which is minus 1. And then I solve. X 2 plus 2 times minus 1 is minus 2, is going to be equal to 3. Add 2 to both sides, you get x is equal to 5. Do a final quick check. X is 5, y is minus 1. 5 plus 2 times minus 1 is minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. And 5 minus minus 1, which is plus 1, is 6. It works. Done. Question 9. We have a ratio question here, but it's a one with fractions where you have to be comfortable going back and forward. Also a bit of problem solving here. So Colin gets 3/10 of the money, which means that if he gets 3/10 of the money, Emma and Dave will share 7/10 of the money. Keep that in mind. Emma and Dave share 7/10 of the total money. So let's set up a ratio. We have Emma, Dave, and the total between Emma and Dave, not the total including Colin. So that ratio would be 3 to 2 to total between them is 5. Now from here, where do we go? So we need to change them back into fractions to find out Dave's share. So look, Dave will have 2/5, which is what his ratio compared to Emma, of the 7/10 that they have left over. So again, Dave gets 2/5 of the amount of money left after Colin took his, which is 7/10. Off in maths mean times, so you put that in your calculator and you get 7/25, which already gives you the answer, but if you want to give it as a percentage, that is 28%. Done. Question 10. So n thermal for sequence is n squared plus 4, blah, yada, yada. So the topic here is algebraic proof-ish. It's not really algebraic proof because you don't need to know the lexicon, the different terms for everything. This one is kind of like trial and improvement, which is a bit of a weird question. But what we're going to do is we're going to try different odd numbers until one doesn't work. Now remember, the examiner can't read your mind, so you actually need to put stuff on paper of what you're trying here. So we're going to try with 1 first. 1 squared plus 4 is 5. Doesn't work for us because 5 is prime. Then 3. 3 squared plus 4 is 13. Doesn't work for us. 13 is prime. 5 squared plus 4 is 29. Also prime. Doesn't work. You keep going until you get to 9. 9 squared plus 5 is 85, which is not prime. So that works for us. Prove the question once. Done. Question 11. We have a non-right angle trig question. How do I know? Well, there's no right angle, so it's non-right angle trig. So first thing, work out if it's sine rule or cosine rule. In order to know if it's sine rule, you need to be dealing with two sides and two angles opposite to each other, so two pairs. In this case, we're only dealing with one angle, the one that we're trying to find, so it has to be cosine rule. Then we're going to write down the formula for cosine rule for angles. You're not given this one. You can technically do subject to formula to make this one, but if you can memorize, it's a good one to memorize, which is a is equal to cos minus 1 of b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. Fortunately, for our question over here, a is where it should be, which is where we're trying to find, so we don't need to relabel the triangle. So we're going to substitute and we're going to calculate. So a is 3.6, b is 2.7, and c is 1.8. Remember, b and c don't really matter if you switch them. The only important ones to get it right are a. Then we put that in the calculator, use brackets, they're always safer, which gives me 104.5 degrees. Then part B, work out the area of ABC. So we're going to write down a formula for area of triangle involving sine, not the one that is base times height divided by 2. So area of a triangle is B times C times sine A. Remember, B and C don't really matter. All that matters is that you have an angle and the two sides next to the angle, the two adjacents. So the area is going to be, if B is 2.7, C is 1.8, Sine A is 104.5. We substitute those in the formula, which gives us the area is 2.7 times 1.8 times sine of 104.5. You put that in your calculator and it gives you 2.4 centimeters square. Done. Question 12, we have a limits of accuracy question, so bounds. You read the question by yourself. What we're going to do here, first thing we're going to do, we're going to find upper and lower bounds for D and F. So D is 190 correct to three significant figures. So let's point out where the third significant figure is. It's only units. So to find the bounds, I'm going to add and subtract 5 from the next place value. So in this case, 0.5. So that will give me 190.5 and 189.5. F is 25.7 to 1 decimal place. Put an arrow there to indicate, add and subtract 5 from the next place value, so 25.75 and 25.65. So we found the bounds. Now we need to find the upper and lower bounds for C, so using the formula there. So now we have a calculation with bounds. For the upper bound, we are going to use the largest value of D and the smallest value of F, which is going to be 190.5 over 25.65. You put in your calculator and you get 7.426900. Do not round it at this point at all, very important. Lower bound, we're going to be using the lowest value of D and the highest value of F, which will give us 189.5 over 25.75, which is 7.359223. Then we're going to line up the results and we're going to compare to see what they can agree to. So we have the two answers over there. If we're rounding both of them to the nearest unit, the top one gives me 7, the bottom one gives me 7, so they agree. So we keep going. If we round them to 1 decimal place, the top one gives me 7.4, the bottom one gives me 7.4 as well. They agree, so we keep going. If we round them to 2 decimal places, the top one gives me 7.42, the bottom one gives me 7.36. So they no longer agree, so we have to go back to 1 decimal place. So the answer is 7.4 because both upper and lower bounds of C round to 7.4 to 2 significant figures, or 1 decimal place, both would work. That's it, done. Question 12, we have a compound measures question. Now, before we get started, it's really important for you guys to know that in order to work out density of something that is made from 2 other liquids or whatever it is, you need to work out mass and volume of C. You can't just add 2 densities, that's not a thing. So in order to do that, we're going to need mass and volume of A and B. So first thing, find the volume of liquid A. I'm going to put the density formula triangle on the left to help us out. So for A, volume is mass over density. The mass is 140 grams, density 0.7. You put that in your calculator and you get 200 centimeters cubed. For volume of B, volume is mass over density. That will give you 128 divided by 1.6, which is 80 centimeters cubed. You found the volumes, now you can find the mass and volume of C. You are able to add masses and you are able to add volumes. The only thing you cannot add are densities. So the mass is going to be 140 grams from liquid A, 128 grams from liquid B, so you get 268 grams. The volume, it gets 200 centimeters cubed from A, 80 from B, so the volume is 280 centimeters cubed. You have mass and volume of A and FC, now you can find the density. So density is mass over volume, so 268 over 280, which will give me 0.957 grams per centimeter cubed. Done. Alright, question 14 to finish. The topic here is functions. We have a bunch of different stuff. Let's go. So first one, find f of 3. So we're going to substitute 3 instead of x and evaluate. For me, the easiest way to do is open bracket. So wherever I have x, I'm going to open bracket. Inside the bracket, I'm going to put what the question is asking me. So 3. So I'm going to get that f of 3 is 2 times 3 plus 5, which is 11. Part A done. Part B, find the inverse function f minus 1 of x. So I'm going to write down the function with y instead of f of x, step 1. So I get y equals 2x plus 5. Same function, but instead of f of x I have y. Then I'm going to swap y and x. So I get x is equal to 2y plus 5. Then I'm going to make y subject of formula, so y by itself. So I'm going to get rid of the 5, take away 5 from both sides, which gives me x minus 5 is 2y. I'm going to divide both sides by 2 to get rid of the 2, and that will give me y on the right equals to x plus 5 over 2. Final step, I'm going to rewrite it with f minus 1 of x. So you're going to get f minus 1 of x is x plus 5 over 2. You don't need to switch sides, I just like to. Next, part C, find g of minus 3. Same steps as we did with part A, so we're going to get the function, open brackets, inside the brackets we put minus 3. So you get g of minus 3 is, it's a calc paper, don't mess about with minuses, but if you want to do it, you do it. Just put it on your calculator and you get that g of minus 3 is minus 16. Part next one, find g of f of x. So we're going to write down g of x because we go from left to right. So g of x is x squared plus x squared minus 25. Then just like if we were doing before with a number, on g of f of x we are going to open brackets and substitute f of x. So g of x I'm going to open brackets, and inside of it I'm going to put f of x. That doesn't help us, but we know that f of x is 2x plus 5. So inside of the brackets I'm going to put 2x plus 5. Cool? Then from here, 2x plus 5 is equal to, I'm just going to expand the brackets, I'm not going to do the work. 4x squared plus 20x plus 25 minus 25. Then g of 2x plus 5 is going to be equal to plus 25 and minus 25 cancel out. So you're going to get 4x squared plus 20x. And finally, solve g of f of x is equal to 0. So we're going to make g of f of x equal to 0 and solve. So g of f of x is 4x squared plus 20x. We found it on the previous question. So we're going to make that equal to 0 and solve. Now this is a quadratic, but this is not a double bracket because we have a common factor here. Whenever you have a common factor, it is not going to be a double bracket. So the common factor here is 4x. Yeah, I know you could have divided by 4, same thing. So 4x bracket x plus 5 equal to 0. We're going to separate them and solve, so you're going to get 4x is equal to 0, which means x is 0. And x plus 5 is equal to 0. Take away 5 from both sides, you get x is equal to minus 5. Done. That's it. One more in the books. All done. Borges out.